welcome, Cameron. I'm glad you were able to join us tonight. The reading was really special.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Where did you get your training to write? Have you always written, or has this been a new thing for you?
I have always. I was first and foremost a reader. Back when I was, I remember my dad, who worked at Four Winds painting boats. He would come home and he would stop at some grocery store or something, and he would pick me up a Goosebumps book, and he would give me that, and as soon as I read it, as soon as I finished it, he'd give me another one. So it was like this little thing that I could do well, and so I would just read these books voraciously, and I'd get through them, and he was proud of me for doing it, and he was never, a big reader himself, but he wanted me to do that. And so I went into school being able to read and being excited about that. And so from an early age, I was always reading. And then at some point, it got to this point where I wanted to be a writer because I saw what the reading could do. I could see how it could impact me and how it could. I remember reading Farewell to Arms when I was 15, I think, by Ernest Hemingway. And it was like the first piece of, I hate to use the phrase like serious literature, because growing up I was reading kids' books and stuff, and abridged classics. But I read Farewell to Arms, and it was like somebody turned on a light, and it was just like
This was in high school?
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
So you found this in the school library?
Yeah, I got my first job because I accidentally. Out in the country, started a yard fire in my yard, so I had to get a job to pay for the...
Oops.
Yeah, exactly. So my job was the only thing I could do in the area, because the only thing in the area was my school. I would ride my bike to 3 miles to the school, and I'd clean computers with... and the librarian would be there in the summertime. She'd just, take whatever you want, and I'd just bring it back.
Bring a book home.
Yeah. So I swear this is true, I would at some points be reading while biking. Not safe. I wouldn't recommend anybody do that. But it was in the middle of nowhere in the country, so.
So you were a voracious reader.
Yes. Very
much. You went to? Did you decide to go to college? And
yeah. Did
you have a plan when you went to college, or did the writing kind of evolve from there?
I did. Well, I was an 18-year-old young man, which means I wasn't the smartest, so I thought writing, going to school for writing, would be bad. It would make
you don't need it.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Don't need it.
Which was just the silliest thing I'd ever. I'm glad I didn't listen to myself. And I went up to Northern, and
which got you into the UP.
Yeah, it got me into the UP, and got me into just a community in Marquette that is. Not the biggest literature community in the world, but it is a very passionate one, and it's a very tight-knit one, and it's one that just welcomed me right away. I mean, there were poetry readings, every month.
In Marquette?
Yeah, in Marquette. And we'd have people, Ilya Kaminsky was one of the first guys that came out there, and he's phenomenal. And we have Patricia Smith came out. Kwame Dawes came, and he was probably one of the best poetry readings I've ever seen. But we would have just these really amazing writers that would come as a part of the university's visiting writer series.
So did you start by writing poetry? Emulating them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was Ilya Kaminsky was another one of those light bulb moments where I saw him read, and he's I think originally from the Ukraine, but he lives in America, and he's largely deaf, and so he has very distinctive voice, and when he reads his poems, he passes out copies of the book so everybody can follow along, and he reads with this passion and this fervor that I had never seen before, and it was one of those things I was like, people can do that? That's a thing? And I was just so shocked by it that that's really what made me be like, I want to be a poet if I can get to even a tenth of that, if I can even just do a fraction of that.